Today on this episode, we'll be changing the spark plugs on a Chrysler 300C 5.7 liter Hemi. Alright, moving on. Tools for this process are a 5/8 spark plug socket, a 10mm socket for the ignition coil bolts, a ratchet universal joint, an assortment of ratchet extension sizes, dielectric grease, and 16 spark plugs. Alright, let's get it. First thing to do is go ahead and pop the hood and locate one set of the spark plug wires. Alright, next, let's remove the two 10mm retaining bolts holding the ignition coil. Depending on the location of the cylinder head, you may need a shorter or longer ratchet extension depending on what is in the way at each particular cylinder. Now, let's remove the first spark plug wire up and out of the way. The ignition coil is removed in the same manner. So pull up the ignition coil and move it out of the way as well. Now attach the 5/8 spark plug socket to an extension and ratchet and go ahead and unscrew the spark plug and bring it up. Again, depending on the location of the cylinder head, you may need a shorter or longer ratchet extension depending on what is in the way. After that, grab the new spark plug. These ones are pre-gapped, but if you would like an extra check, you can use a spark plug gap tool to double check the gap. Now throw the new spark plug into the 5/8 spark plug socket and go ahead and screw the new spark plug back in until it is snug tight. If you prefer using a torque wrench, the torque specs are 13 foot-pounds for the spark plugs in the Hemi. After that, throw some dielectric grease at the end of the spark plug wire and install it back on the new spark plug. Next, do the same thing on the spark plug which the ignition coil sits on. After that, put the ignition coil back onto the new spark plug and install the two 10mm retaining bolts on the ignition coil. Awesome guys, you now have replaced two spark plugs on the first cylinder. Once the first cylinder head is done with the two spark plugs replaced and the spark plug wires and ignition coil reinstalled, go ahead and repeat the process for the rest of the 7 cylinder heads. I had my homie Greg help out by doing one side while I do the other just to get it done faster with a beer. Once everything is buttoned up and put back together, let's give it a start and hear that baby purr. There you go. Okay, it's running. Okay, so today we're replacing the spark plugs with Champion Iridium spark plugs. This process is so easy, you can do it yourself even on a cold winter day. At least it keeps the beer cold, right? The OEM gap on the Hemis is between 0.041 inches to 0.044 inches. And make sure the rubber grommet is inside the 5/8 spark plug socket. It will hug and hold the spark plug, allowing it to be brought up. Each cylinder head in the Hemi has two spark plugs that have two spark plug wires. One spark plug wire connects directly to one of the spark plugs and the second spark plug wire is connected to the ignition coil. It is important to do this one cylinder at a time to keep things simple and not mix up the spark plug wire locations. Changing the spark plugs in the 2005 Chrysler 300C will be similar for the 5.7, 6.1, and 6.4 liter Hemis and will apply to pretty much anything with a Hemi in it, such as Dodge Chargers, Challengers, Magnums, and Rams, as they generally share similar parts and setups. Even with all the different Hemi engines, the parts and processes will be fairly similar. So this took me and Greg about 30 minutes to replace the 16 spark plugs. The maintenance schedule for spark plugs on the 5.7 and 6.1 liter Hemis between 2003 and 2013 is every 30,000 miles or 48,280 kilometers. For the spark plugs on the 2014 plus 5.7 and 6.4 liter Hemis, the maintenance schedule for the spark plug is every 96,000 miles or every 160,000 kilometers. Now, I can't stress this enough for the 2014 plus Hemi owners, it literally states in the owner's manual to replace the spark plugs at 96,000 miles. So doing it any sooner than that is just a cool story, bro. The OEM spark plugs in these years were switched to Iridium plugs with different coil packs to accommodate the larger interval change. Now, for my 6.4 liter Hemi, I literally drove 140,000 kilometers on that baby on stock OEM plugs and she ran amazing. What are y'all thoughts on changing out the spark plugs on our Hemis? Do you feel we should be changing it out at different frequencies? Maybe a different kind of plug? Hit up the comments below and drop your opinion. You can also find the instructions in the description as well. Thanks for watching everyone. If this helped you out, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. I'd really appreciate it. Take care and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.